The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ACT Marketing Automation webinar that we have scheduled today for 1 o'clock. This is a joint presentation of Keystroke and Swiftpage. My name is Ken Quigley, president and founder of Keystroke Quality Computing, and we have Andy Woods from Swiftpage that will be doing the bulk of the presentation. I just want to quickly go through a couple of housekeeping issues. We will be recording today's webinar, and we've got a fairly full agenda, so I just want to quickly go through with everyone what we'll be covering today. So from 1:05 to about 1:20, we're going to be covering template design, all the different features of the very, very powerful editor/publisher feature within ACT Marketing Automation. Then we'll pause for 5 minutes for Q&A. So please, as the presentation is going on, if you have any questions, please make note of them, and we will be stopping for our first question period at 1:20. At 1:25, we'll be covering for about 10 minutes the campaigns or drip features, as well as how they work with groups. And then we'll pause for another 5 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes of the presentation from 1:40 to 1:55 will be covering landing pages. And then the last 5 minutes after that, from 1:55 to 2 o'clock, will be the Q&A. So that's all I have for introductions. So without further ado, I'll introduce Andy Wood to the group. Andy Wood, just by way of presentation, was the one that's done most of the training to the ACT community, and is one of the the stronger advocates and instructors on AMA. So we're quite lucky to have him. So Andy, please take it away.
All right, so as Ken said, we're going to start out here with the template editor now. One of the reasons why we wanted to show you this first is because this is the face of how we get our information out to our customer and really get them related to what our company does and our product is. So what I'm going to do, first of all, to start, is I'm going to show you our templates section here. And to get there, you just click on templates here from Marketing Automation, and then you just click on templates. To create a new template, you would just click actions and the new template, or you can select one of the ones that you already have existing here. So I'll run through really quick the selection of a new template and what you can choose, but then we're going to jump into a template that I already have started. We have the name of where we want our template, the different type of templates we have available. Marketing is what we're going to be using. Drag and drop editor is super powerful, and that's what we're going to be using. And then we have a selection of templates that we can start with. The particular template that I started with in this presentation is here, this cookies template. And so I've removed all the images from there, and I've put my content in here, and we've adjusted it the way that we need it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the template that I have created here. So to start with, we have our tabs here on the right-hand side. I like to start from the right and go to the left when I'm creating templates. The settings here are like the settings that we have inside of our template, where I can set the width of the template, I can set the background color of the area outside of the template, and then I can also set the content background color. So I'm going to make an adjustment here to the overall background color, just so we can see it a little bit. And then I'm also going to make a change to our content background color, which is white. Now you'll notice that these changes that I've made don't show up in here, and I'll go over why they're not showing right now here in just a little bit. Then we also have our default font that we can select, and so I'll go ahead and make some changes. And as you can see, the default font for the entire template changes all at once when I select one of these fonts here. And so you no longer have to try really hard to get all the font to be the same throughout the template. It's just really quick and simple by going here to the global settings and set your font for the global template. Then we can also change the color of our links if we want. If we have a set color that we'd like to have for all of our links inside of our template, maybe we have some brand colors, we can set that right here. The next tab over is rows. This is where we set up the structure of the template. I have already designed the structure of the template for the most part, but I'll show you a couple really quick drag and drops. So here's how you add in, and as you can see, that background color that I have set here is showing up for these new fields that or these new rows that I have selected here. I can go from 1 column all the way up to 4 column if I want to inside of my templates. If I drop something in here that I don't want, I can click on the row and then hit this trash can and then delete it. It's pretty simple. The next tab over is where we get into our content here, and this is where I've dragged over our image blocks that we have here. I'm going to also put some text blocks in here, and then we have a divider here, which gives us a horizontal line. If you highlight this horizontal line when you drag it in, you can change the color of the horizontal line, you can change the thickness, you can change it from dotted to dashed, or just leave it solid. You can also choose how wide you want this line to be, whether you want it to be 100% of that or you want to shrink it. You can align it left, you can align it right, or center. And then you'll have some padding changes here available if you want to make a little bit extra padding around the particular block that the divider is in. And the dividers are really easy to get in here and modify. All right, the next one that I want to cover here is a text block. So as you can see, you just grab the text block, and any existing block that I have here, I can just drag and drop that text block in, add a little bit of content to it here. And then if we want to change font sizes, you can just highlight the font and change the font for that particular block. We have some all the basic toolbars options that we have here. You have some special links for unsubscribe or view an email, and then you have some basic mail merge tags that are available inside of here that you can add to your template. And that pretty much covers the things that are available in there. You have your insert links and stuff like that where you highlight text and you can insert a URL. Next, we have our image options. And so you can just drag over an image block and drop it there. Then the next step would be to go ahead and make sure that you have your images uploaded. So from the image browse option that you have there, I have created a category for my company, which is a bakery. And to do that, you just click on this plus sign here, and then you create the folder name that you want to put all your images in, and then you can go from there. So I'm going to jump into my folder for my bakery here and look at all the images I have. When I'm ready to upload any new images, I just click on upload, and then it allows me to browse to my computer to grab those images. I also have the option to import from Facebook, URL or a link, Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, a bunch of internet locations where I can grab those from, or I can go into a free library of images and pull images from there. And as you can see, there's some bakery images that I could use that already exist in this free library here. The next step that I have is I'm going to go ahead and start inserting these images, which is pretty easy. You can upload more than one image at a time. If I click on upload here, I could highlight all of these, and I could upload them all at once, which I don't really want to do, but it is something that you can do. Also, if you have images open in a folder, you can drag and drop them into this folder, and it'll upload the image that way as well. So getting images into the application is not very difficult at all. All right. Now, let's say that this image that we have here is not quite the size that I want it to be. I can go ahead and click on the image. You'll notice that a toolbar shows up over here. I can click on Apply Effects and More. Let's say that I want to resize this image to make it the right size for my template. And I'm going to go ahead and make those changes. I'll click Apply, and you'll see that it adjusts the image size here, and then I'll click Save. Now, you won't see any visual changes here because this image size is automatically restrained to the size of the block that I have. But I'll use another example here with this particular image. I'm going to put a frame around this one. Apply that change, and I'll save it. And as you can see, the modification that I made to the image shows up here. I'm going to go ahead and upload the rest of the images that I have. All right, and that pretty much covers it for images. You can link your images to a URL. You can adjust the padding around the images. You can choose to hide the image on a mobile device if you want. All those settings are available here on the right-hand panel when you have the image highlighted.
Andy, can you show the top graphic and actually reduce the visible size of it by clicking on Auto Width and scaling it left to right or right to left?
Yes, I can. So if you have an image like this, you can remove the auto width here and then just shrink it by adjusting the auto width, which makes it a really fast way to adjust the size of an image. And then you can choose whether you want it left justified, centered, or right justified.
And you may also notice lower down here on the right-hand side, you've got the ability to add a URL to any of these images if you wish to direct the audiences to some specific site.
Yeah, and the options that we have available here is to either open a web page, we can choose it to send an email, make a call if they're on a phone, or send an SMS message is also one of the options. You can link to a file, so you can upload PDF files, Excel files, and stuff like that into your library, and then you can link those to either images or text inside of your template just through that option. The next thing that we're going to cover here is going to be our buttons. So I have already created a button here, but I'm going to add another button. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the button, and you'll see some different options here. We're going to start with our website. Just as an example here. So I'm making it so that this button goes to my website. I'm going to make it so the button auto adjusts the width according to whatever the text is here on the button. So if I add extra information to the button here, it automatically adjusts it. I can, though, uncheck this and adjust the auto width through the same way I did the images. I have the background color of the button. This sets the color of the actual button that I want itself. And then we also have our text color for the button. Then we can
while you've got that highlighted, Andy, I want to draw everyone's attention to the little icons that are popping up to the bottom right of it, where you've got a little garbage can for deleting. But the little copy icon, if you make something similar to this, and it doesn't matter if it's a picture or a text box or anything, and you quickly want to duplicate it and just change a little bit of content, just click on that and show how easy it is.
Yeah, you click on this and it duplicates it exactly, and then you can make modifications to that. If you accidentally click it, you can delete it. If you decide that you don't want this button here, you can actually grab it and drag it to a different place inside of the template. So the content that you have in here is easily movable from one place to another just by grabbing this little plus sign and moving it throughout the template.
Yeah, just as an example, one of the things when I was making the newsletter, I had a certain size content and a certain size headline. So what I was able to do was just duplicate both and drag them down to the next section. So I had perfect uniformity very, very quickly with little or no trouble.
So with our buttons here that we have here, there are some other options that we have. We can change the line height, which is the line height for the text on the button. That's a really easy way without having to change the font size that I can adjust the way that this button looks. Next is our button or our border radius. What this does is it decides whether or not you want the corners of the button to be square or rounded. So as you can see, as I add more, the corners of this button become more and more rounded. Next thing we have here is padding. Now, there's going to be padding on the button itself, and then there's padding for the row that we have. So adjusting the padding to a particular block or a row depends on what effect you're looking for. If I go ahead and reduce this, you'll see that the button size itself is changing because of the padding. So the padding when I have the button highlighted is going to be the padding around this button right here, the space between the text on the button and the edge of where the border radius goes. We can also add a border to our button if we want. So let's say that we wanted to add a little bit of a shadow to our button. I could click here, set this to black, and then I can go to more options, and I want to put a shadow on the right hand side of this button and on the bottom of this button. And as you can see, it now makes that button look somewhat three-dimensional. So it can be a way that you can add a little bit of character to your template here. That pretty much covers the details of the button. You always have the option for a lot of these blocks to hide these on mobile. And what that makes this do is, if this is something that you don't want to show on a mobile device, because a mobile device is going to stack these windows, then you can go ahead and hide that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and enable this so it hides this button. I'm going to click Save, because until I click Save, it doesn't actually make the change. Then I'm going to come over here to our Actions Preview. And now I have two different types of previews. I have my desktop preview and I have my mobile preview. And as you can see, the mobile preview stacks the information. And you'll notice that that button that I created no longer shows on this mobile device because I checked that option. So that's one way that you can test to make sure how your email is going to look on a mobile device. And all of our drag and drop templates are mobile friendly. The next option that we have in here is going to be our social media. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom, and I'm going to drag my social media over here. Right now I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn available. If I highlight this block, then I have the options that I can adjust these. And you'll notice that all I need to do is just put in whatever my user ID is for my Facebook, whatever my user ID is for my Twitter, whatever my user ID is for my Instagram and my LinkedIn, so on and so forth. If there are some icons that I want here that I don't have, there's a large selection of social media options that I have. We have the option for social follow, social share, and then there's some other icons for like a link or an email. And it's just as simple as clicking on one of these. Like if I wanted to add Pinterest, I can just click on that, and Pinterest is now available. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. If I decide that I don't want some, like I don't have an Instagram account, then it's easy to go ahead and remove that. I also have here at the top the customization of the icons. I can choose whether I want square ones, whether I want them see-through a little bit. There's a lot of different options that we have available here.
Just to give you a 1 minute warning, Andy.
Okay. The last part that I want to show you guys here for the template is going to be our videos and then adjusting the colors on the template. So first I'm going to go ahead and add a video. We're going to go ahead and grab the share link from YouTube for this, and they have to be either a Vimeo or a YouTube video. And as soon as I hit tab on that, it's going to add the video. And then I can adjust the play icons and what they look like, add a little bit of padding. But it makes it so that when the customer clicks on this, it's going to play the YouTube video right here in this window. The last part that we're going to show is adjustment of the colors. And so I'm going to go ahead and change the properties for these blocks right here. So I have my background color. Right now it's set to content area is white. Row background color is going to be this light gray. I'm going to go ahead and change that on all of these. So I'll just copy the color that I currently have under settings here. And I'm going to come back over and I'm going to adjust this on all of my row background colors here. And it's just that simple to change the colors that I have. Now let's say that I wanted to make a little bit of an adjustment to something here. And maybe I want to add a little bit of a border, or maybe I want to change the color back behind one of these columns. I just highlight the row that I want, and then under here, under the row, I have the options for column 1, column 2. I want to change the background color for this column to a little bit of a darker gray to kind of highlight this to draw the attention to that particular window. Maybe I want to do the same thing here. So in this row, I'm going to go ahead and change the background color for this block. So just click here, change the background color, and you'll see that it changes that easily. And that's pretty much the template in a nutshell. What we're going to do here at this point is we're going to go ahead and send this email because I'm ready to go ahead and send it. Change this really quick so you can see this. All right, and then we're going to go back up to the top of this template after we save it. I'm going to click on Actions, and I'm going to go ahead and send this email by clicking on Create Campaign. You also have the option to send a test from here. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Campaign. I always recommend sending a test before you do that. But we're going to click Create Campaign, and it's going to give us the options in order to send this out. So the campaign name, our subject line, and we're going to select a group in our database that we want to send this to. And I'm going to choose our opt-in customers for marketing. The from name that we want for our template, the from email address, and then the email address that we want this to reply to. You can set up multiple domains for your company that you want to send from. And those domains that you're going to have available are going to be available through the drop-down here. Public domains are not something that you can send from. You can only send from private domains that you have control over. So we're going to go ahead from here, and we're going to click on Create. And this gets us to our flow chart of where we design our template. We have our start, we have our end. We can choose when we want this to send through a time interval. We can click on specific date and time. For right now, for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at instant release. I'll go to Actions Activate. And I just make sure that all this information is correct. Make sure that we have a unsubscribe link at the bottom, all that stuff, and then just click on Activate Campaign. Now, there is no delay from when I hit Activate. As soon as I hit Activate, this campaign will enter queue and it will start sending, so be aware of that. If you don't want it to send immediately, you will want to change the time interval from instant to a specific time. You can also choose a specific date. You can tell it to wait 5 minutes, 2 hours, 3 days, or choose a specific date and time. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and wait for this email to send out, and we can go ahead and do our Q&A for the template section.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Andy.
So here's some of the questions. How many built-in templates are available, and where can we obtain them?
There's probably about 15 to 20 templates available to select from, and they're all in this drop-down under templates here.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Next question is, yes, we are recording this for your review. Next one is, can we upload a PDF flyer that is already created?
Correct. Not to send out as an email. You can upload it as a file. You'll have to recreate it just like in any other email marketing application. You can't convert a PDF file into HTML because that's what email marketing templates are designed to be. So what you would have to do is take the content inside of that template and recreate it in the builder.
All right, thank you. Next, design platform is great. However, if our marketing people design a standalone email, assume we can just paste that in a single image as our designer would want to work in their platform. Is that correct?
I imagine that you could, if you wanted to, make an image of the flyer that the marketing department created. I would not recommend it. It's not one of the recommended ways to handle marketing because you want to have a 70 to 30% image or text to image ratio. So you want to have primarily text inside of your templates, followed by image.
Yeah, just for clarity though, if you're looking to import in email like HTML content prepared by a third party, you would need the advanced subscription, which does have the WYSIWYG editor that supports HTML importing.
Correct.
All right, so next question, can we add video that is not YouTube or Vimeo?
No. You can add it by creating an image with a play icon yourself and then linking it to a URL where you have a video hosted, but we only support YouTube or Vimeo through the interface.
Okay.
Which is obviously easy to overcome because you can just upload the video to YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, how do I choose who received the emails? Is it a group lookup?
Yeah, we're going to be covering that here in the next section, but it is a group that you already have created.
Okay, next question. Can multiple users share the uploaded photos file for templates? Can multiple users share the uploaded photo? Oh, sorry, same question for templates.
Yeah, all the templates that are going to be available to all of the users who have permission inside of ACT to use ACT Marketing Automation, which you can set under Tools, and Users, and then change the security settings for your ACT application for those users who are going to have access to it.
Okay, and the last question is, what is in place to make sure the email doesn't end up in the recipient's junk folder?
Unlike Swiftpage and Marketing and ACT Marketing previously, you do not have to create an SPF record anymore. That information is already going to be managed by us so that it delivers with that authentication available. The one step that you may need to do when sending to yourself, or if a customer has problems with sending, is having them whitelist the sending IP addresses, which we have a knowledge base article that you can address for that.
Yeah, and please note that there's absolutely no way you can guarantee that something won't be flagged by the client's email, because often the servers and email clients are configurable. So you can ratchet it up or ratchet it down. It's impossible to control that from the sender side. So that brings us to the end of the first Q&A. Next, we're going to go into campaigns, otherwise known as drips, and management with groups.
Yep. So what I'm going to first start off with is the group that I had selected here that I sent an email to. I'll really quickly pull up the email that I sent to myself here so that you guys can see it. This is what the email looks like inside of Outlook. And then this group that I've created here is based off of a dynamic query that I set up myself. So I went in here, I created this group, and then I set up some criteria for it. So I clicked on Edit Criteria for my group. I came in here and chose Contact, field name, type of email. The operator I chose was contains, the @ symbol. And so what I'm looking for here is the email address field to contain the @ symbol. And then I'm also looking for a contact field that I created called opt into marketing emails contains the value of true. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a lookup of that. One contact in my database meets that criteria. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK there. So any contacts that I create in my database that meet that criteria are going to be added to this particular group. And that's the way I have this dynamic group set up. I would recommend, at the very least, having something like this where you have at least a email address, has the @ symbol, and at least checks to see if this contact is opted into your emailing campaigns. If you don't have an opt-in field, I would recommend doing that as part of the landing pages that we're going to show later. So you're going to create a custom database table field where you have a opt-in option that you can check or set a value on. So next from here, we're going to go ahead and go into marketing automation. We're going to click on drip marketing where we set up our campaigns, and we're going to start our next drip campaign. So I'm going to go ahead over here to the actions. I'm going to choose new campaign. We're going to go ahead and create our campaign. Smart tags are used to do a quick search. Then from here we have an option to choose the flowchart setup that we have for our template or our drip campaign. For right now, I'm just going to choose marketing. If I've created campaigns that I liked previously, I could choose copy campaign, then choose a previous one that I had set up. But right now, we're going to choose marketing. I can choose the total number of emails that I want to have in this campaign. I'm going to start with one because I want to show you guys step by step how to add things here. Then I'm going to choose which group I want to add to this, and that's going to be my customers that have the half off deals are the ones that I want to add to this. So this is a different group that I have created here. The from address, the from name can all be changed. If I wanted this to say, I could do that. If I have another email address like bakery at, I could do that. I could set that up here, but it's always going to have the domain name as whatever my private domain is, like swiftpage.com happens to be the one that's permissioned on my account. You will probably have the same domain that your company has set up for your website or something similar to that. So from there, you just verify this information is correct and you click create. So this first template that I have here, I'm going to go ahead and select the email stage. I'm going to choose the option here, insert action after. After this first email, I want to add something called the decision stage. And then I'm going to go ahead and click go. Now this is going to give me the options on what I can do with this decision stage. Now what I'm looking for on this decision stage is I'm looking to see if a link was clicked. So I'm going to choose a specific URL. Now in this email series 1, that first stage, I have a few different URLs that are available, but I don't have my template that I want selected in that first stage yet, so it's not going to give me the specific URL that I want. So I want to go back out of here, so we're going to go ahead and choose save and return. I'm going to go back to this first stage and select the template that I want to have. I'm going to go ahead and click on Actions menu here on the right-hand side. I'm going to choose Import My Template. I'm going to select the template that I want. I'm going to choose Import. And this loads the template from my master templates screen into the actual e-marketing campaign. Now I can make individual changes to this if I wanted to. If that's not the template that I'm looking for, I could also choose a different template. Or I could create one from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and choose our Tasty Treats template that we originally started with. Now, part of the creation of this template is going to be setting our subject and the stage name. So I like to number my email stages by stage 1, stage 2, but you can come up with your own naming convention. I'm going to go ahead and put the subject that I want. Now that other option that you have in here where it says pre-header text, that is the part that shows inside of the preview pane inside of Outlook. Right underneath where it says the from name, there's a pre-header section inside of Outlook and some email clients, and you can type in a specific message. If you don't type anything in there, then it's going to grab the first line of text from your template and insert that there. You go ahead and click update, and then you can click save and then return. And it'll take you back here. We're going to go ahead and go back to our decision stage. We're going to edit the logic on this. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the email is opened. That's going to be one of the options that we have, and I want stage 1 to be the one that we're referencing. And I'm also going to add another one, so I'm going to choose add a group. Or I want to have email clicked and choose a specific URL from the template. In this particular case, I'm looking for the survey that I have where I have a half-off Tasty promotion. And I'm going to click Save. Then I'm going to go ahead and choose Save and Return. Now we have to choose what we're going to have happen off of our Yes branch and off of our No branch. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight End here, and I'm going to choose Change Action Type. And I'm going to change this to an action, and I'm going to hit Go. So if they have filled out the survey for the Tasty promotion or clicked on that link and opened the email, then I'm going to go ahead and modify what happens with the contacts there. I'm going to send a notification, first of all, and the email address that I want to send it to. Then I'm also going to add another option, and I want to add them to a group. I'm going to go ahead and choose the group name that I have here. And what I'm going to choose here is our customers that are actual customers, because at this point they have already bought something or purchased something, and we're going to add them here and add them to our customers.
We have a couple more minutes in this section, Andy.
Okay. So from there, we're going to go ahead and put an end stage, because every beginning must have an end, as they say in the Matrix. So I'm going to go ahead and put an end step after this to end my Yes branch. And then we're going to go over to our No branch. We're going to say, okay, we're going to add an action, change the action type here. I'm going to send out a new email for this one. And then after this one, I'm also going to add another action after. Again, we need to have an end to our No branch. And so what I would do is I come into this email stage here. I would set up the template that I want to follow up with the people who did not click on something and did not open the email, to try and get them one more time to follow up something with something. There's also other things that you could do in here. I'll just go over those real quick before we go to our questions and answers here. So the other options that we have available under actions here is create an activity. So you can create an activity inside of ACT based off of that. You can create an opportunity. You can add these contacts that meet the yes branch to another drip campaign that you have running. You can update a contact field inside of ACT with some information, or you can remove them from this drip campaign if they get added here. So those are the different options that we have available under actions. And the other options that we have available under here, under change action type, we have edit email content, insert action after, manage subscribers, remove email, view email statistics. The action types that we have is create an action, which I showed you. You can set a call. You can add another decision stage. You can put in an email, or you can set up an event, or you can change it to an end stage. So those are the different options that we have available in here. And this is just a really simple drip campaign that we have set up. Before I do anything else here, you would probably want to change this if it's specific upon a date. Like if you are running this for an event and the event is on a specific date, you may want to set specific dates for the times intervals. If this is something that you want new context to be added to in a continual thing that changes, you'll probably want to use days, weeks, months as your time interval. So I could choose after they fill out this form, I want to wait 1 day, and then I'm going to send them an email. And then after they get sent this first email, I want to wait 7 days before I move on to the next step. And that really quick is just a summation of how the drip campaigns work and how the groups are going to work. So these drip campaigns are required to be tied to a group that you already have set up in ACT. They will not work any other way unless they're being fed from a landing page.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. To be respectful of people's time, we're going to push the Q&A section that we had scheduled for after this to the end. That way, if people want to hang around for an extra 5 minutes for the Q&A, we'll do that. But we want to make sure that the content is all covered in the time that we asked for. So, Andy, if you can just transition next into the landing page section.
All right. So we're going to click on marketing automation from here. We're going to click on our landing pages here. And the landing pages, what they are is you can think of them as actual web forms that you create. There's two different types of landing pages that we have. We have a page designer type, and then we have one that sits back behind an existing form that we have. Really quickly, I'm going to make a page designer type first so that you guys can see that, and then I'll talk about the one that you can hide behind, which is called My Website, where you can put it behind a CMS, WordPress, or an HTML page and capture the information off of that page into the web form and then feed it into your database. So for this particular one, we're going to talk about web signups. So this is going to be a signup form that we're creating where I'm getting permission to email customers or contacts. This is something that I'm going to hide behind probably social sharing or on my web page. I'm going to host it somewhere where people can go to sign up to receive emails from me. Again, this is just a way to make it easy to search if you have a lot of them. And then the type of page that I'm going to do where it's a standalone by itself is a page designer. So it's going to create a link for this by itself. And I'm going to go ahead and choose a background. We have a default, we have a iframe white, and we have iframe gray. And then we have two backgrounds that I've created inside my template editor and published for these forms. Now I can automatically have the contacts that I have here sync to a drip campaign if I've already created one and have an email, a follow-up email sent out in regards to those. I'm not going to do this in this particular case, but I can select that option if I want. This is where I choose whether or not I want to allow duplicates. So if I want to allow duplicates, I go ahead and choose allow duplicates. Please make a note that if you want to update contact fields of existing contacts, you do have to choose the option to allow duplicates. And this is where I can choose who I want to assign the contact to if I have multiple users in my database, or I can leave it unassigned and let one of my admins assign these to the different salespeople in my team. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Create. And again, we have a workflow here where we can have a bunch of different options. If I click on this, I have the options to change the action type, insert an action after, or remove a form. For right now, we're just going to do a basic form here. So I'm going to go ahead and click Go to edit the form. I'm going to give the page a name. And I'm going to change the submit button on my form, go over here, click actions, and then save. And now we're going to add the content to our template. Now we do have individual questions that we can add by themselves, or we have templates. I'm going to use a couple of different templates that we have that are designed to meet all the requirements that you need in order to have a compliant sign-up form. So I'm going to choose Add Template. First of all, I'm going to choose Contact Us. And that's going to automatically add the Contact Us information in here. We have full name, email address, company name, and a phone number. I'm also going to add another template, which is our GDPR, which meets the requirements of GDPR for the UK. And the GDPR for the UK also meets the requirements of like CASL for Canada, and as well as, you know, the marketing sign-up rules here for the United States and Australia. So you're safe if you use this sign-up for all those different things. So you'll notice that it added an extra email address question. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that extra email address question. But I'm going to edit this description here and leave this here. So you can customize this question about what they're signing up for, and then edit this question for, or the check mark box to sign up for whatever they're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and choose here. We'll go ahead and choose Save and Return, and then I'm also going to edit the text here. And it can take a little bit for this to load sometimes. All right, and then I can choose whether I want to map this information to a field inside of my database, and I am going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and say that I want to put this into our opt-in to marketing fields. Okay, so when someone check marks that box, it's going to put the true value into our opt-in to marketing fields. I'm going to go ahead and choose Save and Return. Then I'm going to come here and just verify and make sure that these fields are set to map to the database fields that I want them to be mapped to. So I click on the pencil icon to edit each one of these. And then I come down here and you can see that it's going to map to the contact field, full name. If I wanted to edit the question, I could do that. If I wanted to make sure that this question is not required or required, I can do that. If I want to put a default value for this question, I can do that as well. So those options are available there. So if someone fills out the form, it's going to automatically map to these database fields that we have selected here. By default, this form and those questions of the template that I use are automatically going to default to those field values like full name, email address, company name, phone number. And then you would need a custom field value for this one right here if you want to show that they have opted into marketing emails, which I do recommend you doing. You can add individual questions by clicking on Add Control. You can choose from checkbox, checkbox list, comment box, drop-down, date and time, email. You can make a question hidden so that it only shows for you inside of the web form, or you could have it make it hidden to the customer, but automatically write to a field inside of your database to like group different responses from surveys. You can make it an HTML option. You can make it a label. You can make it a password if you have passwords, a phone number, radio button list. Single text box is one of the most common ones. Then we have a slider for like ratings. We have star ratings, and then we have time. So there's a lot of different options here inside of the controls that you can add. I'm going to choose a slider just to give you an example here real quick of one of the options that we have available here. And then I can put a scale and set the default value, and I can even choose the shape of the option. And if I wanted to, if I had a place inside of my database where I wanted this value reflected, I could choose a database field where I want this information to be reflected. Once I'm done here, I can go ahead and choose Save and Return. I can see what the link looks like here at the bottom. I'm just going to load this form. Here is the template that I set up. Here's the text that I have, and obviously I need to either make my template wider or change the width of the question that I have here. I could visit my website, hit the social sharing, and then of course to submit the web form, I just click on the sign up for treats, and it's going to take this information and put it in the database. And that covers pretty much how these forms work. If I want to look and see the different people who have filled out this form, I can go here and click on View Results. And it's going to show the individual information, what device they filled it out on. In this particular case, I was in Google Chrome, so it's going to show the version of Google Chrome. It's going to show the date and the time. If there's a CRM ID associated with it, it'll show that there. And then after a certain amount of time, this information will automatically write back to my database, so it would create a contact inside of my database based upon this information. And you'll see, here is the contact I just created. And you'll see that the opt-in to marketing emails is here, set as true. And that's the web forms in a nutshell. You can, inside of the web forms, share to your social sharing platform, so you can put in your social sharing information here and automatically share this link to your social media platforms. And I think that pretty much covers things with our landing pages. The primary reason for these is so that you can create dynamic queries based off of the information that you get off of the web forms or the landing pages to create your groups for the next marketing campaign that you want to do. And it really makes the automation process work well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Andy. I just want to remind everyone that earlier in the presentation, Andy did a simple campaign where he sent out an email. Whether it's a simple campaign or a multi-stage campaign, right within that campaign, you've got the ability to click on actions and actually display the dashboard of results, much like he just did towards the end. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to see the instant feedback on any campaign that you launch, whether it's a landing page or just a simple send or a multi-step campaign.
Yeah, so if you want to look at the actual information from a campaign that we sent, a second here, we can look at the opens for that campaign that I sent out earlier by clicking open here, highlighting that first stage, and clicking go, or sorry, view email results from here, and it will show all the statistics from the campaign that was sent.
Okay.
We can answer questions while we're waiting for this.
Okay.
Super.
It says, can they share the created templates and modify them? So the templates that you have, Andy, can those be shared, and can they modify?
So the templates, it's an account level template. So all the templates inside of the account are accessible to all users that are permissioned to use that module.
All right. Next question is, what happens if your group has more contacts in it than the level of AMA you have subscribed to?
Right now, I don't think they actually have a limit that cuts you off. What ends up happening is you get contacted by our deliverability administration team, and they will let you know that you've exceeded the amount of contacts. And if you continue to do that, they're going to require you to just a higher service level.
All right. Okay. Andy, can you show them how to personalize the email using the salutation field, as this is kind of buried since you can't do it from the initially when you initially designed the template?
Give me just a moment here.
Okay, is there a next question?
Yeah. Is advanced logic with drip marketing standard, or is it an add-on feature?
It's an add-on feature. The full options that you have available for the nurture campaigns is going to be available at the advanced level. You can do some minimal stuff at the standard level, and then it broadens at the complete level. Okay.
Is there a max number of emails that you can send per year, or a max amount of recipients per email?
It's going to be per month that it is. I think it's 10,000, 50,000, and 100,000 for the different levels.
Okay, this is an ACT question, so I'll just read it, but I think we can move on. You can email us with that, Steve. It says, how do you create the groups to send email campaigns out to? So that's just dynamic groups, but we'll do that separately. If you want to email us at service@keystroke.ca, we can answer that question. Okay, next question. In Swiftpage e-marketing, we are able to send a template to an individual. How do we do that in ACT marketing?
You cannot do that in ACT marketing unless you create a group with just one individual in it. You could send a test email to one particular person, but you're not going to get statistics on one particular person. We do have plans on adding the feature to be able to send a one contact, but the premise of marketing automation is to create groups of contacts that want to receive an email. It's not for individual one-off campaigns necessarily. But again, we are working on creating a feature where you can send an email.
All right. Can you restate what you said about duplicates on the landing page setup?
The duplicates on the landing page setup, you want to allow duplicates if you want to update existing contact fields. So the reason why it says duplicate there is it's going to allow the database to check and see if that contact already exists. If that contact already exists, then what it's going to do is it's going to merge that information into the existing contact. And the way that it checks if that contact exists is by email address. So if that email address already exists in the database, It's going to say, okay, this email already exists. I'm going to update these fields on that contact.
All right. Okay. If I add new emails to the specific group I have an automatic campaign for, will the new email be updated to the campaign that will be sent automatically?
Okay, say that one more time.
Yeah. If I add new emails to a specific group I have an automatic campaign for, will the new email be updated to the campaign that will be sent automatically?
Yes. The new email will automatically be in there. Like if you have a drip campaign set up and it's set up by time intervals, then and you change one of those email stages, the template for that email stage, every contact after you change that email stage will receive the new email, not the old email.
Okay.
If you have it set up by scheduled date times, no, they're not going to get it if it's already past that date.
All right, thank you. Why do some templates allow you to enter merge fields from your database, but others do not? Is this the type of template that is chosen to create?
So you cannot add merge fields into the template until you get into this part of the build of the campaign. So you either click on Create Campaign from the template that you designed, or you're in Drip Marketing Campaign inside of an email stage. You have your group selected, and then it presents you with the database options that you'd like to merge inside of your template. So this is what we were talking about, where I can add my first name for my contact record to this template. So that's inside of the Drip Marketing template design.
All right. What is the CRM ID on the report for the web form?
The CRM ID is going to be based upon whatever the contact management system that it came from. When it syncs back, in fact, we may even have, since I got some information for that contact record already written, I may be able to go back in there and show you that there's a CRM ID related to that contact record. So let's go ahead and check under our newsletter sign up and look at our view results and see if it has that CRM ID attached to it. See?
All right. In list status of the email statistics, I can see delivered. What about undelivered?
Undelivered doesn't show in there because the undelivered are going to be either bounces, opt-outs, or something that's already on your unsubscribed list, or people that have complained previously. One way that you can check that before you even send the email is you can run a list simulation from your drip marketing campaign. So if I go here into drip marketing and I choose, let's see here, I go into our if I come in here and I go to actions and I choose list simulation, if I run this list simulation before I actually send out my campaign, what it's going to do is it's going to send me an Excel spreadsheet that checks against my bounces, my opt-outs, and my complaints, my duplicates, and so forth. And it's going to tell me which of the contacts inside of my database are bounces and opt-outs. So you'll already know ahead of time which of these contacts aren't going to be sent to, because it's going to give you that inside of the list simulation. You could then go into that group and remove those contacts from that group if you wanted, or you could use a filtering option with your dynamic groups in order to remove those contacts. One of the things that I like to do with those is I create fields inside my database, which I have here, my bounce, my marketing complaint, and my unsubscribe. And what I do is, off of my campaign, which shows here under campaign results, when that history writes into here for my contact, it will tell me if someone bounced, if someone unsubscribed, or if they complained, and I can do a advanced query of those campaign results and find out everybody that bounced or everybody that unsubscribed, and then I can flag these fields on those contact records, and then I can create my dynamic queries to exclude any contacts that have a yes in bounce, a yes in marketing complaint, or a yes in unsubscribe, so that I don't run into problems with contacts not showing up in the campaign even though they're in the group.
All right. Where do you see the stats for the campaigns?
So that is back here inside of marketing results. I click here on send email, And you'll see here that now that it's been activated, it defaults to view email statistics. I click go, and it's going to show how many contacts were included in this, whether it was delivered, how many total opens there is, how many unique opens.
Excellent.
And then you have the different options right here to choose between whether I want to look at opens, unique opens, clicks, unique clicks, stuff like that. And I can show a graph as well.
Okay, last question. Is there a way to archive all the emails sent out?
The archive of it is going to happen here under your contact records. So as soon as something happens with your contact or with one of the emails that's open, clicked, or responded to, or it's delivered, it's going to write a campaign results here. Now it's put into a queue and it's written as they happen. So it can be anywhere from like 15 to a couple hours after the emails start being opened and clicked for this information to show in here. I can show you an example in one of my other databases here real quick if you'd like to see that. And this also gives me the opportunity to show you an advanced query real quick. So this is one of my databases that I do a lot of testing on. And as you can see, when I click on campaign results here, I have results from my previous campaigns. Unlike Swiftpage marketing and Active marketing, I can query these results. I can query on send date, I can query on campaign name, subject line, sender, open date, number of opens, last clicked. I can query on a specific URL. And to do that, I just go here to lookup, go to advanced query, change the type on my contact record to campaign results, and then I choose what I want to look for. And in this particular case, I'm going to look for clicks, and I want anyone that has clicks that are greater than or equal to 1. I'm going to add that to the list. I'm going to preview, so I have 21 contacts that meet that criteria. I'm going to go ahead and replace that. And here are my contacts that all have at least one click on a campaign. If I wanted to get more specific and look at one email campaign, I would just add that to my query.
Excellent, thank you. That's all the questions we have.
Fantastic. So we're just over 7 minutes over. If there are no further questions, then I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much, Andy. This has been an excellent presentation. You've been running for about an hour and 5 minutes. I just want to remind everyone that all registrants that signed up for this will be receiving a link to the video recording, and we will also be having a draw afterwards, and we will be notifying the winner of the results. So it's very exciting. Swiftpage has donated a complete subscription for $2,400, 1 year free. So we'll be announcing the results of that within the next 24 hours. So thank you again for everyone that attended, and have a great day.
Have a great day, guys. Thanks a lot.